Hey, good morning. It's Thursday, May 20th. Thanks for being here today. We're going to continue looking at this narrative of Joseph. And there's a real treasure in studying the narratives. It's a treasure we have to handle carefully to make sure we don't read in too much or leave out too much. But a narrative is a story full of lots of plots and subplots and circumstances. And as long as we study carefully, and that's the key to reading any good literature, but especially the Bible, and especially the Bible narratives, we need to know as much as possible that the Bible tells us about the situations we're reading in, and not just read a portion of a narrative, pull this out in isolation from the historical context that the story, the narrative, takes place. Well, fortunately, with the story of Joseph, we have a ton of ways to see the narrative that the writer of Genesis, Moses, is giving us insight through the Spirit of what's actually going on. We've come to the point now where the brothers are back home in their land, and Joseph has been carried off down to Egypt. Joseph has done the right thing with Potiphar, but again, he's falsely accused, thrown back into prison. And yet Joseph remains a man of hope, as we'll see as things unfold. Joseph is not shattered. Joseph is not in despair. Even though his physical circumstances are a mess, he has hope. Hope is not a matter of circumstance. The brothers, on the other hand, they got what their emotional lusts and desires craved. They got rid of this nagging kid, this proud, boastful, arrogant guy who was always a pain in their side. And so for them, the best thing in the world was to get rid of Joseph. If we got rid of Joseph, we wouldn't hear this incessant self-praise and his just painful attitude. Let's be gone with him. So they followed their emotional desires. They followed their hatred. And what did it bring for them? The physical circumstance was good. Things were still going well. They were free. They could do what they wanted to. But they were in torment. As we read in chapter 42, Joseph's words pleading for his life as they were getting ready to sell him and get rid of him. Years and years later, they still heard those pleas. They were not free. They were tormented by what they had done. They were tormented by their hatred. Instead of accepting their brother and loving him, putting up with his admitted difficult attitude, the price of getting rid of him was far greater than anything they ever imagined. They thought life would be great if Joseph was just gone. But you know what? It wasn't. It was a literal nightmare for them. They were haunted by what they had done, the grief that was in their father Jacob's eyes that was 24/7, and then Joseph's pleas to not sell him, to not get rid of him, ringing in their ears. Judah, who kind of masterminded the plot to get him down to Egypt, wandered off into wrong pagan lifestyles, as we saw in chapter 38. But God even redeems Judah. But hope is not a matter of circumstance, and that's what I want us to look at. Joseph, as we read in the scriptures here, continues to bring honor to God. Even when he's not treated well, he brings honor to God. When he's in the prison, he is honoring God. And again, he is recognized as someone who is faithful and good, and not in a dour attitude, not someone who is crying and moaning all the time. Look what's happened to me. I can't believe all this garbage. No. Joseph continues to take every opportunity to honor God. And just as he was in Potiphar's house, the jailer, commander of the jail, realized that Joseph was a man of unusual character, and Joseph ran all the things in the jail for him. Now we see how it works out in an amazing way just coming up. But let's just stop right here. Joseph is someone who is being faithful to God, is recognized for that. And in the midst of his mess, is still someone who has honor and peace. His brothers, who got exactly what they wanted, they got rid of their pain in the rear end little brother, have nothing but agony and sadness and distress. And they're not happy. They have no hope, only despair. And it's all around them, even though they have everything that they thought they wanted. Joseph, who had nothing of what he thought he wanted, still trusted God, had peace, had hope. And as we see coming up, how well that will serve him. But it's important to stop the narrative right here at this point in time and see how it's working out. Joseph, treated horribly, is not in distress, but is trusting God. And God uses that. His brothers, who got what they wanted according to their fleshly desires, are in horrible distress. There's no safety, there's no peace, and they're living a lifestyle which is not at all pleasing to God. Hope is not a matter of circumstance. Hope is a matter of faith and trusting God. Joseph had hope, even though it looks like he had no reason for it. The brothers had no hope, even though they had every reason to think that they should. Hope is not a matter of circumstance. And that's the thought for the day. Thanks so much for being here today. Hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on post notifications. They'll come to you. Thanks so much for just walking through this narrative of Joseph with me, because it's a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness. You have a great day, and Lord willing, we'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.